Hey Sketchy friends, so I really wanted to make a quick, I'll try and make it brief, video about the Urban Sketchers Symposium because quite a few people are super interested and they're not quite sure what it all means. Maybe it's a new term to them. So yeah, I just wanted to cover a few bits and bobs in this video so hopefully you have a better idea from maybe my perspective on what this symposium involves. Facts, figures and feelings. So yeah, I'm going to do a roundup for you. So I do have a lot to get through. So if I'm looking down now and again, it's just referring to my notes here. What is the Urban Sketchers Symposium? So I'm guessing by this stage you all know about Urban Sketchers, the official non-profit organisation. Is registered as a proper non-profit organisation. There's an executive board. Volunteers, all volunteers, let's remember, who run the Urban Sketchers organisation and do an amazing, fabulous job, and we're all very grateful to them. So each year they run a symposium somewhere, a different location around the world. So someone did ask this. Yes, it is in a different location around the world each year. So what happens is there's urban sketching chapters in cities all over the world. We have one here in Johannesburg, which I'm now an admin for, which is awesome. So I can help run the events that we hold on a monthly basis. An Urban Sketchers chapter somewhere in a city, somewhere around the world, can put in a proposal to the main Urban Sketchers organisation to ask if they can run an international symposium in their city. This year it was in Auckland in New Zealand, so it was the 11th year it had happened. It hasn't happened since 2019. The very first symposium was held in Portland, Oregon in 2010, and then since then it's been all around the world. So 2011 it was in Lisbon, 2012 it was in Santo Domingo, 2013 Barcelona, 2014 Paraty in Brazil, 2015 it was in Singapore, 2016 it was in Manchester, so I was in the same country at the time of this happening and I didn't go, which is really annoying. Chicago 2017, Porto in Portugal in 2018 and Amsterdam in 2019. So in 2020 the symposium was supposed to be held, it was scheduled for Hong Kong, but we all know what happened there. So yeah, so it's come back this year, 2023. It's just happened in April, end of April in Auckland. At the end of the event, at the closing ceremony, it was announced 2024 is going to be in Buenos Aires in Argentina. So that's extremely exciting. Unfortunately, it's still really, really far away from where I am here. But I think, to be honest, everywhere's pretty far away from where I am here at the bottom of the African continent. So in addition to the annual international events, there are loads of regional events going on all of the time. So I know there's a few of the Johannesburg sketchers are going to the one in France, which is coming up in the next week or so, I think in Toulouse. There's one coming up in Belgium, I believe. And even in Johannesburg, we put in a proposal to hold a mini symposium here in Johannesburg. Margaret did a great job putting that proposal together and it was accepted. So we've been given a bit of money from the main international organisation so we can organise something here. It will be a 2.5 day event. We'll also be holding workshops and sketch crawls and really just trying to get the urban sketching spirit out there. We're a very small group here in Johannesburg, but we really are trying to reach out to the community and students at the university and all types of different people to try and get them involved in how awesome urban sketching is. So that will be held in September. We're all really excited. We're working on it now to organise it. If you are in the region or want to travel to the region in September, then there is a link in this description below for this YouTube video where you can register your interest. You don't have to pay for anything at this stage, just registering your interest just so you can get on our email newsletter and find out more as we begin to confirm more and more details for that event. So that's Johannesburg, September 2023, mini symposium, sketching the city of gold. So what does the symposium entail? It is a 3.5 day event On the first day, it kind of starts, I'm going to say kind of, because, each event might be ever so slightly different, so don't hold me to this, but on the Wednesday, the registration opened at 3 p.m. I left my hotel and went down to the designated event hub, which was the Auckland University of Technology building, or one of their buildings, and the queue was insane. It was out of the door. So I think people very much want to get there for the very moment that it opens, or some of them may have been queuing for a good while before that. Also, a half an hour before registration opens, there was an art market where there's the sponsors of the event, along with local art stores. They all have stalls so that you can go and check out some of the products they have and buy stuff, obviously. So that art market runs throughout the event in the same building as that's designated as the hub for the event. So yeah, long queue for the registration, but it went really, really quickly. The organisers did an amazing job. They had loads of people registering people. So what happens is you get a lanyard with your name on it and your country. I decided to doctor mine. It said United Kingdom. I thought, let me put South Africa on there. And it also tells you what type of access you have. So I've got the workshop access there. And then I'll get to this in a bit, but it also has a list of the workshops that you have selected as your choice when you buy your ticket. I'll get to tickets in a minute. So there's the registration. You get given a goodie bag as well, which has got a nice bunch of freebies and samples and stuff from some of the sponsors, or all of the sponsors of the event, plus more. Hopefully I've got a little video for you here, which can give you a little idea of what was in that bag. Lots of cool stuff to try out. Yeah, and you get your event program, so you've got your schedule and you've got all the information. Then you're free to sort of roam, free to sketch, chat to people, go to the art market. And then I think the opening ceremony, I'm doing this off the top of my head a little bit, but the opening ceremony started around 6:30, something like that. That was great. You get a voucher for a free drink, and there's some food. There's a note from the president and also Eric, who I think was heading up the event. And then we had an awesome Maori experience where we get to see some singing and some dancing. That was really cool. That was really awesome to see. And yeah, and then from there onwards, once that's wrapped up, it's just carry on chatting, drinking, eating, drawing. Then we met back the following day for 9 a.m. To start the full proper symposium. So basically, you meet up in the morning, there's a quick word from the president just giving you an idea of how the day runs, but all of that stuff's in your program anyway. Then you meet up for the workshops in the hall, your respective, they've all got signposts, so you go and meet the group that you're going to be in the workshop for. Then the workshop goes from 10 till 1, so it's a 3-hour workshop. Then you're free to go off for lunch, and then, you can refer to your program, the next things you want to do. So on that first day, it was lectures or sketch presentations, just quick fire kind of little presentations from different people. And then you're off for the sketch crawl. And all of this is optional, but of course I've bought a ticket, I'm there, I want to do as much as possible. And then the sketch crawl runs for a few hours, probably finishes around 5 or 6. Do a group photo, do a throwdown, which is quite difficult with hundreds and hundreds of people. And then you're free to go off for a drink and draw. So there is a designated place for drink and draw, but it, definitely couldn't fit everyone if everyone had decided that they wanted to do it. So I think the first night I did go along to the designated hub, and I inserted myself with a group of friendly sketchers from Melbourne, and had a great night. It was really cool. But, we it was wrapped up around 9 p.m. kind of thing. So, but that is a 12-hour day, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you do everything, that is a 12-hour day. So it is pretty full on. But of course, you can decide if you don't want to do certain parts, and you can, especially if you've got, a hotel or accommodation nearby, you can just go and sort of have a bit of a rest. It just depends on you. The following day, same thing, workshop, 3 hours. Then you go to a demo. So on top of the 3 workshops, there's also a demonstration that you can choose. The same list of instructors. So I think there was about 20 different instructors, therefore 20 different demonstrations on a particular subject that you could choose. So I actually decided to do a 1 hour demonstration with Oliver Holler. It was raining, unfortunately, so we were inside for that, but it was great. We got to look through his sketchbooks and actually ask him lots of different questions, and he demonstrated a few little bits and bobs for us. I did try to get him to tell us all of his sketching secrets in 1 hour. He seemed tempted, but I think 1 hour for everything you know about sketching is not really possible. But really cool guy, love his sketching style, and it was awesome to meet him. And then after that, same thing, sketch crawl, and then same thing, drink and draw. And then on the final day, which was the Saturday, it was a workshop again in the morning. And then I went for lunch with some of the workshop participants, which was really lovely. It was a really great group for Eleanor Doughty's workshop on the final day, which I did. And then we hot-tailed it over to the big square where the big photograph of every single person at the event was taking place. And then after that was done, we did a sketch crawl. And then after that was done, so that was for a few hours, we put our work down, had another photo, another throwdown. Then we had a couple of hours free before the official closing ceremony started. So I actually just went for a rest in my hotel because it had just been such a full-on trip, which if you guys watched my last video, you know how insane the trip was in terms of scheduling. Also, if you're traveling with a partner, you can buy a ticket for the partner for the closing ceremony. So that was nice to meet people's other halves that had also come along but hadn't been able to come to any of the other bits and bobs. We had another songs and dancing from the Maori group again, which was really cool. Got goosebumps. It was like really, really cool. Oh, there was the silent auction as well. So up to a certain point during the event, you can submit one of your sketches as long as it's on a separate piece of paper to the silent auction, and that raises money for the event as well. So that goes on. There's the raffle as well. I did actually win something in the raffle. Not the main prize, which is what I was really, really, really hoping I would, which is a ticket, a full workshop pass to the next symposium, but I won a few sketchbooks and stuff like that, so that was really cool. At least I got a prize. That was nice. Just added more to the weight of my suitcase of the stuff that I was bringing back, and yeah, just milling about. And then me and my new bestie for life, Lauren, and her husband went down the pub for a pint, so that was great. So that was basically the structure of the symposium, but remember, you know, that might change, but that's basically the idea. If you don't get the full workshop pass and you just go for the sketch pass, you get to do everything apart from the workshops, but in place of the workshops, you get to go to lectures by various people in the urban sketching community who are talking about particular subject matter. So a lot of those lectures looked really interesting as well. So, you know, there are things provided for you to do other than going to the 3-hour workshop in the morning, but that's basically the only part that you don't get to do if you've got a sketch pass. So moving on to the different types of tickets, there is the sketch pass or there's a workshop pass. So the sketch pass is slightly cheaper. I can't remember the exact price, guys, and I've been looking for it and I can't find it. It was something like $225. It was somewhere around that price point. And then the full workshop pass is $450. You get the same for both tickets. Apart from the workshop pass, you get to select 3 workshops with an instructor of your choice. So unfortunately, I bought my ticket a little late, so I didn't have the full choice of workshops. So that's why you want to get in there quicker, because, you know, if you want to go to a particular workshop and it's been booked out, then unfortunately you can't go. I was really sad that I missed out on a workshop with Maru Godas because I'm such a huge fan, but unfortunately for personal reasons and visa reasons and stuff, I couldn't buy my ticket straight away. I was just very lucky that when I could buy a ticket, there was still some left. So once you buy your ticket, if you buy the workshop pass, you get to select your 3 workshops that you want to attend, and you also get to select your demonstration that you want to attend, which is a 4th separate thing, a 1-hour demonstration. And if you have a sketch pass, you also get access to that 1-hour demonstration as well. Each workshop has a particular focus because that instructor would have put in a proposal to teach a workshop at the symposium. So for example, Eleanor Doughty's workshop, which I did on the final day, was about drawing with calligraphy pens, obviously in the context of urban sketching. An instructor called Ben Luke, I didn't attend his workshop, but his workshop was focused on food sketching. And Rob Sketcherman, who I did luckily get to attend his, he was focusing on how to sketch on the iPad but create sketches that really pop off the screen. So that was the subject of his workshop. So they all have particular focuses. The instructor does a few little demos, sets a few little exercises for us to work on, that kind of thing, all building up to somewhat of a final demo, a final longer demo of more of a scene, and then we're kind of let loose to try and put into practice the exercises and everything that we've just been shown for like an hour or so in whatever location we're in. And then we come back together at the end to do a bit of a throwdown. If you don't know what that is, that's where you put your sketchbook or iPad in Rob Sketcherman's case, down on a surface, I won't say the ground. And we each get to see what everyone's done, you know, and it's not an intimidating thing at all. There's no judgment, but it's an opportunity for the tutor to go one by one and give us a critique or some feedback. And in Eleanor's case, I think she called it a feedback sandwich, because she can point out the positives, but where you learn is when someone tells you what, you know, you could have done differently or what you could have improved on, or what would have made the sketch better. So that was really invaluable, and it's really invaluable to hear it about everyone's work, not just your own, you know. We're all there together, we're all from all over the world, and we're just trying to learn from that person who's giving us that particular workshop. So how do you know it's for you? I heard this a lot at the symposium where people were like, oh, I wasn't sure whether I should come because like I'm brand new at this, I'm a beginner, that kind of thing. And I'm so glad that they did go, because I'm pretty sure it probably just 10 times their enthusiasm for throwing themselves into learning urban sketching. So please don't be put off by thinking, oh, I'm not good enough to go to the symposium. It's not about that at all. It's about meeting people and it's about learning. So in that regard, being a beginner, it's absolutely perfect, because you just make loads of new friends, and yeah, you just get to learn from some of the best people, best educators in urban sketching around the world. You know, learning online is great, and it's like it's absolutely amazing that all of us can learn, and things are available from places like Domestika, for example, for like really reasonable amount of money. And so it's more accessible to more of us, but there really is nothing like meeting people in person and learning from people in person. So if it's something that's, you know, available to you, then I would wholeheartedly recommend it. There was a few moments throughout the symposium that I found quite overwhelming, but like in a good way. And I got a little emotional. I didn't cry, but I was just like, took a breath, you know. Certainly arriving at the building for registration and seeing so many people, and some of them which recognized me and were like saying hello, and it was just, yeah, it was amazing. The very first sketch call, I was a bit late to, and you had to walk a little bit, you know, 10-15 minutes to a square, and yeah, just seeing hundreds of people with their sketchbooks sitting in a square, a town square, looking at various different things and all sketching. I was just like, wow, I'd just never seen it on that scale before. So yeah, that was really cool. Okay, where's the next international symposium? So the 12th International Urban Sketches Symposium will be held in October 2024 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I recommend that you follow Urban Sketches on Instagram. I think they also have a dedicated Instagram profile for the symposium as well. Just look for Urban Sketches Symposium. If you're keen on going, just keep an eye on it. Okay, and now to the really meaty part of how much did it cost me to go to the symposium. So you already know the cost of the ticket. I paid for the workshop ticket. I was like, I'm going all this way. It's my very first symposium. I'm going whole hog. I'm doing the full workshop pass, $450 US. The sketch pass without the workshops, but everything else plus lectures, somewhere around $225 US, I think. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if they know how much it is. So I'm obviously going to disregard the few weeks of traveling around in the camper van that I did in New Zealand, because that's completely separate to the actual cost of the symposium. So as most of you know, I live in Johannesburg, South Africa. So I think no matter where you live, unless it's Australia, the air ticket to get to New Zealand is pretty expensive. Mine was $1,500. That was after a lot of researching and help from a friend, a travel agent friend, to find a good price, because I was tearing my hair out at the prices that I was seeing. I was disappointed with Qantas. That would have been my best way to get from here, is to fly to Sydney and then Sydney to Auckland. So that would have been perfect. Unfortunately, they seem to have doubled their prices, and they're double the cost of every other airline. So what went from a 18-hour journey, I think, with one stop in the middle, then turned into 32 hours plus with three different stops. So yeah, it was a very long way and a very long journey. An Uber to the city and back to the airport. It's not a long journey. It's only about 25 minutes, half an hour, that kind of thing. So that was about $30 one way. And I decided I wanted to stay in a reasonable hotel. I toyed with the idea of hostels and all that kind of thing, but I was like, no, I've traveled around in a camper van for a long time. I want a nice hotel room. And actually I found like hotel rooms in Auckland were like quite reasonable compared with other places in the world. And also New Zealand overall is a very expensive country, but I found like their hotel prices weren't too bad. So I stayed in a really nice hotel room, massive, with a kitchenette and washing and drying machine, which was amazing. Wasn't actually expecting that at all. And it was $125 per night. And I had a nice balcony overlooking the park. It was lovely. And it was about an 8-minute walk to where the USK event was, the hub. So I stayed there from Wednesday, which was the day of the opening ceremony, through to Sunday. So the closing event was on the Saturday night. So I stayed there the Sunday, and then I flew out of Auckland on the Sunday afternoon. That's 4 nights. In total, that's $500. So I don't think that's too bad. The hotel didn't include breakfast, but I did have a small kitchenette in my room. So I did have a fridge and stuff like that. So I actually am still carrying half a bag of muesli around from my camper van trip. So I just bought some milk and luckily there was a bowl and spoon in the kitchenette area. So that was my breakfast each day. For lunch, I did eat out each day, because wherever the workshop location was, and then the next thing I wanted to get to, it was like too much to either walk back to the hotel and like make something, or it's also an awesome way to go for lunch after the workshop with the people that you've been in the workshop with. So that's a really nice opportunity. I guess what I'm saying is here that you could make this cheaper for sure, but I ate lunch out in a cafe each day, so that was somewhere between 15 and 20 US dollars. I'm going to round it up to 20, and then therefore it was $60 for the whole event for lunch. And then I only had dinner on 2 of the nights, because on the opening night there was a buffet, and on the closing night there was a buffet. That amount of food was like enough for dinner really, especially after eating out for lunch as well. Dinners were more expensive, so I would say somewhere between maybe $20 to $30, and then I tend to have a beer or two on top of that, or like a wine or two. So let's round it up to about $40 for each of the 2 dinners. So that's $80 in total. I'm going to add this up at the end, by the way, guys. And then I walked everywhere pretty much through the event. It was all totally walkable, so I didn't need any transport or anything like that. And then I had an Uber back to the airport. So that was about $30. And I've been through the ticket costs, and then I bought a few raffle tickets, so that was about $10. So all in all, the entire event cost me $2,660 to attend. Obviously, the vast majority of that was the airfare, which was about $1,500. So if you take that out, then it cost me $1,160. So the second largest expense there is the ticket itself. You can decide whether you want the full workshop pass or if you want to go for the sketch pass. I still think the sketch pass is extremely valuable. You still get to meet lots of people, you still get to go to the lectures, you still get demonstration, that kind of thing. You know, in summary, guys, I do feel like the entire experience was absolutely priceless, given that what I do in my life is generally sketch and make videos about sketching and teach other people about sketching. Then I just felt like it was a no-brainer for me to attend the symposium. I just felt like I absolutely had to, you know. I did almost pull out of the whole trip because it was just getting quite out of hand, the costs, but I didn't want to fly all the way to New Zealand and not see as much as I could. So that's why I kind of did a bit of a crazy trip, and yeah, it was quite quick and stuff, but I did get to see loads, and at the cost of me just feeling exhausted, I was kind of like okay with that, you know. Then when hopefully eventually I go back to New Zealand in the future, I've got a good like idea of where I'd want to go and like spend some time and, you know, maybe do slower travel. But slow travel is not always an option for everyone. You only have a certain amount of time, and I just wanted to make the most of seeing an amazing country that's most of the way around the world from me. So I feel like the entire event was completely worth it. I absolutely loved it. I met loads of you guys. I met loads of new people. I met some of the people that I've been watching on the internet for the last 10 years. I got a bit starstruck at points, and yeah, I just couldn't put a price on it really. So I know an international event like that is not in reach for everyone, but do definitely check out the regional events. They're going on all over the world. I'm sure there's one near you, and they tend to be a lot more affordable. I really hope that this video has been helpful, and I hope that I'll get to meet you maybe in Buenos Aires in 2024 if I can get a ticket. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Any further questions, just let me know. You can leave a comment below, or you can email me, taria@urbansketchingworld.com. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, tarias_sketchy_adventures, because that's where I'm sharing my regular sketches. I won't say daily because it doesn't always happen daily. And you can also see some of my sketches more closely from New Zealand as well. So thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.